In a world where wrestling fans are born after 1996 or some shit.
You don't remember the slogan of WCW in the late 90s?
Remember the slogan, Jake? I was 5.
One man will be brave enough to face them.
You never saw that? Jesus Christ.
Starring the Man Scout Jake Manning.
You son of a bitch. This is why I hate you so much.
And introducing Tyler Wood.
Oh boy.
With special guest Nick Alexander.
Oh, yay, I never get an intro, so that's nice. That felt nice.
10 Bell Pod.
Who gives a shit about Lex Luger? New World Order! New World Order!
This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
Becky Lynch is going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
Welcome, everybody, to the WWE Podcast. It is time to talk about Night of Champions that concluded earlier today and took place in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, as we saw I think the total was 7 matches as they added Natalya and Rhea Ripley late. Of course, that match lasted about as long as the intro to this show, so, but at the same time, I make fun of the time, but it's also effective in the way they needed it to be with Natalya and Rhea. We'll talk about that. Of course, we're going to talk about Brock and Cody. We'll talk about the Intercontinental Championship with Mustafa Ali versus Gunther and a lot more. But first, guys, I would like to welcome you to the WWE Podcast. There is not going to be a show tomorrow for the Week in Review because tonight is essentially the Week in Review with a full recap of the pay-per-view. And we already had a Smackdown review with our Smackdown review team, Michael Ritter and John Carrasco. They cover Smackdown every single week, and they did a great job this week as always. Check that out. So just a heads up, we won't be doing a week in review this week. And I'll be attending Monday Night Raw in Albany, New York, Monday night with our new World Heavyweight Champion, Seth Rollins, who will, overwhelmingly likely open the show to Raw. How can he not? Just because he's the new top guy on Raw, and he has been for a while, but now he has a championship to show for it. And I would imagine Seth opens the show, and we will learn quickly who his new opponent is. Maybe during that show, or maybe during a main event when someone interferes and screws over whatever match Seth's in. Speculation of Drew McIntyre being the first guy up could be a great matchup as we roll towards Money in the Bank, July 1st in London at the O2 Arena. That's going to be coming up, 6 weeks? No, 5 weeks. Five-ish weeks until that happens, but it'll be here before you know it. July 1st seems like forever away because May has been such a long month, but it'll be here in the blink of an eye, and then summer will be over. It's the way things go. Hey, let's talk about our main event here from Night of Champions. And if you guys, by the way, don't want ads in the show, right now we're running a limited time free trial over at patreon.com/WWE Podcast. For the first time ever, we have free trials going on there. If you want to experience our show ad-free, risk-free, head on over there, or you can go ad-free on Apple Podcasts or our website. Or hey, check out our shop, WWEpodcastshop.com. All right, let's go. Let's talk about Monday Night Raw, Night of Champions. Let's start with the biggest thing that happened. How can we not? Roman Reigns was turned on by Jimmy, and I don't like how the people, and I'm only saying that because I've heard it framed that way. Jimmy turns on Roman, but he didn't turn on Roman. He retaliated against Roman. Jimmy didn't turn on anybody. He is just retaliating out of respect for himself. And so, but fine, for whatever, he quote unquote turned. Now, let me just say off the bat, as with most, if not all of the Bloodline storylines and big moments like this that have occurred, especially at pay-per-views, premium live events, It was done so well from an acting and emotive perspective, just how well everyone, as always, seems to play their role. The only critique I have on this is, at least for the moment, I feel like it should be Jay. Wasn't Jay the one about to snap? Jay was the one that had a ton of support from the crowd. Jay was the one who Sami was trying to convince to leave. Jimmy has always kind of been the background player. I don't know if it's so important which Uso is the one to first turn, but you would imagine Jimmy, who was the level-headed one, was trying to keep Jay controlled, and all of a sudden Jimmy is the one losing it on Roman, and finally the one to snap physically on Roman. I don't know. I feel like Jay was the one who had this role ready to go, and eventually he will, I would imagine. I don't know. And there's more than one way to skin a cat. It just feels like they were prepping Jay for this very moment that Jimmy got. I don't hate it. I really like it. I just feel like the role should have been flipped. But my personal preference at the moment. However, the match with Kevin and Sami and Solo and Roman, very good. No complaints here from an in-ring perspective. It was very, very well executed. Some just great near falls, stunner to Roman, and then Solo comes in and is dominant as he has been, and having Sami Zayn in there to hit the haluva kick on Solo, and with Kevin using Roman's spear, that was a cool moment. Just there were so many great high spots. Great drama, great hot tags. I have no issue with the matchup itself, but the matchup itself isn't going to be remembered for that, right? Because every match that these four men have had in any kind of variation that you may present, it's always been very good. It's about what's going on in the story. That's why we're here. We want to see the bloodline collapse. And has it? I mean, all signs point to yes, because we had Jimmy and Jay come out to the aid of Roman at the beginning when it looks like, was it, who was it? Kevin, who was about to powerbomb Roman through the announce table, I believe. And the Usos came out to the aid of Roman, and then were super kicking as they always do, and accidentally super kick Solo. By the way, is his name Solo Sikoa? Can we just go with Solo Sikoa until further notice? And Solo gets kicked. Roman sees the Usos nail Solo and then gets in the face of Jimmy and Jay, shoves them aside, and that's when Jimmy finally snaps and super kicks Roman, and then has a conversation with Jay, who you were kind of waiting to see what he was going to do. You were looking at Jey Uso like, is he going to smile? Is he going to join in? Is he still conflicted? And the answer is he's still conflicted, as Mr. Confliction continues to be conflicted with everything that happens. He's torn, but sells it well. I mean, I'm not ripping on Jay. It's just his character needs to find a lane and just stick with it, because he's so good at what he does. But I'd like Jay to just finally get to that point where we can say, okay, he's against Roman. Like, why are we fighting this anymore? But Jay was the one to snap. And then Roman sold that super kick like, Shawn Michaels had hit him with Sweet Chin Music. And then Jay and Jimmy were arguing. And I thought at this point, they gave Roman too much time to recover. Roman's going to end up, laying them both out or something. And nope, it was just to set up a second intentional super kick on Roman. And the crowd was going crazy. The crowd was hot all night. And nothing against the Saudi Arabia crowd at all. They were on fire. Were they as hot as Puerto Rico? No, you'll probably never hear a crowd that loud. But Saudi Arabia was on fire and going crazy for this, as expected. And I would have loved to have seen Paul Heyman's face. I didn't quite catch it with what was going on. So Roman Reigns gets super kicked, and Solo ends up taking the pinfall. So that's fine with me. because Solo has already taken a loss here. I mean, if you remember, Cody Rhodes beat him the Monday Night Raw before WrestleMania, so it's not like Solo was going on an undefeated streak that was suddenly snapped. It's all about Roman here and preserving his streak of not being pinned or submitted since December of 2019, so that's intact. Of course, his title's intact. 1,000 days is intact. He is now number 6 on the list. He'll soon to be number 5, I believe, with Pedro Morales up next at 1,027 days or something like that. So Roman Reigns continues everything, except now his bloodline is crumbling. So how does he maintain the championship? That remains to be seen. But obviously a huge angle here with huge storyline development with Jimmy Uso turning, quote unquote, turning on Roman Reigns. And now Jay, where does he land? You would imagine that at Money in the Bank or SummerSlam, you're going to have the Usos versus Solo and Roman. That's on the table. But then it leads you to think, well, if that's happening, then when the hell is Roman Reigns defending his championship? If that happens at Money in the Bank, then Roman Reigns is not defending his championship till SummerSlam, which means he would have gone from, April 1st until August 1st, roughly 4 months where he doesn't defend the championship. I mean, it's on the table. It actually seems more likely than not, so it's absolutely egregious, okay? It's egregious. I mean, I don't know what else to say, even though the Bloodline storyline has been really good. Anyway, more on that later as far as the championships go. All in all, really good finish, a big angle here to end the show. All right, let's talk about, what do you want to talk about? Let's talk about Trish and Becky. I was wrong on this, and it makes me feel like an idiot because I had called for Becky to win, but Trish winning makes sense because if you turn a legend heel, there's more to just the quick heel turn than just a one-off. Usually there's a storyline and a reason for it, and this is going to result likely in a multi-match program, and Becky Lynch even tweeted out afterwards, or Instagram, whatever, that, we have unfinished business. Becky broke her nose again, so I don't know if her career will be revitalized with the broken nose image again. Probably not, but it's just funny how Trish had said in the promo before the match the week before that I didn't need to break my nose to become number one, and here she is having her nose broken again. Zoe Stark ends up sneaking out from under the ring and costing Becky the match. Unexpected finish from the perspective of Zoe Stark being the one to be the henchman for Trish, but it's not shocking. It's just it's unexpected. And I don't hate it. The alliance is fine. Trish now as a heel as a henchwoman, and she's able to use her to do the dirty work and win matches and things. So Trish may go on a bit of a run here. Maybe to WrestleMania 40. Who knows? I don't know. I have no idea how long Trish has in mind to keep things going here, but I don't hate it. In ring, this match was good. However, at the beginning there were some just bad botches from the tornado DDT that was not good looking, to the neck breaker that was basically Becky Lynch falling on her back herself to sell the move from a ghost. It was there were spots like that were just hey. But you know what? I give Trish credit because at her age, for keeping herself in that kind of shape to be able to keep up with Becky Lynch, good for her. Yeah, there were some botches that maybe comes with a bit of a ring rust there, and also the fact that they haven't worked a singles match together before. So I'll let it slide, and because I'm sure that that Trish is very concerned about my opinion on those botches. But hey, I really couldn't have expected a better match outside of those botches from these two, and the drama was good. Becky Lynch hitting the manhandle slam on the ringside area, on the ring, near the ring apron, and having Trish get her foot on the rope. Good move there. It's just an all around nice, well put together matchup that ended with some hook or crook, but that's fine with me because eventually these two are going to get back in the ring. You'd imagine their second match is going to be even better than the first, and Zoe Stark is going to be the hench person for Trish. And Becky's probably going to have several matches with her on Raw, maybe even this coming Monday night. So, overall, don't hate the decision. Think it's good because you're waiting for the babyface to get that blow off, and it's coming. You just have to be patient here. Maybe match 2 or 3. All right. What else here? We got the other women's match. Well, actually, there are 3, but this is the second one that's on my mind, is Rhea Ripley and Natalya. I talked about this a little bit in the open. I love it. I absolutely love this. And, of course, it wasn't a 5-star match. It really wasn't even about the match itself. It was about just dominance. That's all you were trying to establish from Rhea. Attacking Natalya from the side, fine. But that's Natalya's move. If you're like, oh, well, she got the unfair advantage. Well, Natalya is the idiot for turning her back on Rhea Ripley. That's your fault, right? I'm victim blaming. Absolutely. 100% victim blaming in this situation. So Natalya, that's your problem. And Rhea Ripley, dominant, under a minute. Bing, bang, boom, riptide, game over. Loved it. I mean, not much else to say than that because you can't really break down the match. There's not much to break down. So hopefully this is over with Natalya, though. I don't need to see this continue. I don't need to see Natalya go, well, next time you're not going to blindside me. I don't need that. Natalya, is clearly levels, multiple levels, plural, below Rhea Ripley. In terms of, not respect, in terms of pecking order and where they view the company going. Rhea Ripley is the face of the women's division right now. Absolutely. So I had no issue with this. Loved it. Squash matches should happen more often on pay-per-views. I really believe that. Now, not every pay-per-view has to have one, but you can do one. Sneak one in there when it makes sense, and this one absolutely made sense. All right, let's talk about the final women's match here with Bianca Belair versus Asuka. I was very much listening to the crowd here. Very much so. How do they react to the intros? How does the crowd progress from a support standpoint for both ladies as the match went on? And it trended in the direction that I was hoping it would. Not off a cliff, but trending steadily towards Asuka, away from Bianca. Not that people are overwhelmed and in love with Asuka. I don't think that's the case. I think it's more that they're just ready for Bianca to drop the belt or turn heel. I mean, people have been ready for a long time, and this was kind of, to me, if they didn't do something here, Bianca was in deep trouble if they don't want to turn her heel, because she was well on her way to turning organically heel. For all the reasons I've listed before, and I mean, namely that she has basically got zero character development over the last 6 months. She is extremely formulaic in her promos and so forth, right? I don't want to beat a dead horse, but it's true. I mean, I don't know what else to say. So, add that on top of a long title reign, and people are just ready for a damn change. So, they went the road of keeping Bianca babyface, and at least on paper, and having Asuka, the quote-unquote heel, get the victory with a heel method of victory, which is using the mist, but not spraying it directly from her lips to the face of Bianca, but rather spraying it in her hands. And then when Asuka was in the KOD, using her hands to put it in the eyes of Bianca, and then hitting her with a couple of kicks to the skull and goodnight the lights. We have a new Raw Women's Champion. I still don't understand how this far into the establishment of the draft we have a Raw Women's Champion on SmackDown and a SmackDown Women's Champion on Raw. How is this still a thing? How is this not addressed? It's embarrassing. It's an insult. It's insulting to our intelligence as fans, those that care. You should care. If you don't, it doesn't make sense why this is the case. Why are we ignoring this? And don't give me, well, I don't know what the solution is. Right? I mean, I'm not saying the listeners or fans. We all know what the hell the solution is. I mean, it's written all over the walls. The solution is the same thing that's happened every single time there's a draft. You just swap belts. That's it. End of story. And it's a bit confusing too. If you have property of a brand that you're no longer on, you no longer have that property. You shouldn't. And so if there's an even swap to be made, you make it. And yet they just have forgotten or don't care or just want to make it confusing to keep things interesting. I don't know. It's infuriating though, and it doesn't need to be this complicated when the solution is in front of your face. Now, are they trying to build something? Are they trying to, or were trying to build something between Bianca and Rhea? I mean, Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania this year, they teased it a bit. I would love to see those two in a long-standing multi-match, 3 to 4 match program. I think they could absolutely have match of the year written all over it, and they're both capable of it. And we've seen them tease physicality with each other, namely at the 2021 Royal Rumble. I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, when they ended that Rumble together. And anyway, I know I'm making, kind of a mountain out of a molehill here, but it's absurd. I'm sorry. Now, as far as the match itself goes, it was okay. I don't mind Asuka winning. I think it's a good move just to get it off Bianca if the goal is to keep her a babyface. It seems that's what they're trying to do. But the crowd was turning on Bianca in favor of just getting it off Bianca. As I said, Asuka people like Asuka, but they know what you're going to get with her as champion. We've been there, done that. How many times? You know her limitations. You know her strengths. Excuse me. You know the match quality you're going to get out of her, which is always very good. On the mic, she is extremely limited, which, as I've always said and continue to say and double down on, is one of the major factors that is going to keep her from reaching another level of success and reaching, I think, her full potential. But that's my opinion. So, it's just kind of like, well, it doesn't feel fresh and new with Asuka as champion. It doesn't. And we've also had in the past, if you remember, I believe during the pandemic era, she was Raw Women's Champion and they basically forgot about her. And they didn't have her on Raw for many, many, many weeks. And the Raw Women's Championship was basically buried in the ground. It was absolutely disrespectful to the women's division and the Raw Women's Championship itself. So Asuka doesn't have a great attachment to that championship, or doesn't have a great, I don't think, feeling in the minds of fans when you see Asuka with that championship. And also, I don't think people want to boo Asuka. I don't. She's changed things up from a looks perspective. Okay, her maneuvers are the same. Her music is a little different, and her looks a little different. So I give her credit there. Trying to keep things fresh, good. But I hope Bianca is going to, if they're going to keep her babyface, add something new. Change up her promo. Change up her look. Stop skipping to the ring like a little middle school kid. Okay. I don't know. my frustration for Bianca is coming out only because I know how good she could be, and that the things she's doing are limiting her, at least from my perspective, which is gospel, right? Okay. Some other little things about the match. Asuka was punched 10 times in the corner. Bianca was doing the old 10 punches to the head. Everyone counts along. I think it almost got to 11. And then completely no-sold it after that, that was weird to me because, that's basic. That's basic wrestling. Like, I know that her next spot was supposed to be a comeback, but if someone punches you in the skull 10 times, and it's basically, sell it, and it's just, the only selling you're doing is just being a little exhausted, which is essentially, sadly, how most maneuvers are sold. People don't grab body parts. They just look like they're just out of breath. If you've noticed, I don't mean to ruin wrestling for you guys. I'm not trying to. I just think in general, a lack of selling is a major problem across the board. All right. And I know that it's not going to be changed. This is just the style today. It's very fast, floppy, flip, flop, fly. And I get it. And I understand that. But this is just another microcosm of a larger issue of no selling. And Asuka gets punched 10 times in the corner, literally no sells it, and then just gets to her next maneuver. Yeah, but anyway, Asuka winning, a better move than Bianca retaining. Okay, that's all I gotta say about that. All right, what do I want to talk about next? Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar. This one was better than I expected from the perspective of a story being told. I thought it was going to be a little bit one or two dimensional, where Brock is just uncomfortably beating Cody down for 80% of the match. Cody looks like he's about to muster some offense. He gets a couple moves and Brock shuts it down. Like it was going to be that. And at the end, Brock hits a couple finishes and ultimately it's just F5, good night the lights. It's not quite what we got. It was much more competitive than I thought it would be. Is it frustrating that Cody was that competitive with one arm with Brock effing Lesnar? Yes. But also, it reminded you how good Brock is, and he's not just a suplex machine, that he can sell his ass off, and that he is a damn good pro wrestler. And you forget how good he is because he's been relegated to kind of this formulaic finish Goldberg-style matches. And he's breaking out of that. And Cody Rhodes is helping him do that and reminding us how good he can be. And he doesn't need to have 2-minute specials. So I did like that. Also, fun note from Michael Cole about the arm brace that he had on, or the cast was titanium. It didn't register with me for a couple of minutes, and then I go, oh, I know why he told us that. Right? But then within 5 minutes, it was, well, okay, if Cole knows this, then the referee must know that this cast is made of titanium. And even if he doesn't know it's not made of titanium, if it's just a regular cast, how is he allowing this to be used? It's a built-in foreign object, and just because Cody has it on his hand or his arm doesn't make it legal. It doesn't. I mean, it doesn't, right? I had a little bit of a problem with that. Just from a logical standpoint of the referees just letting this go, and everyone knows this is titanium. And by the way, also if it's titanium, Brock didn't really sell it that way. He was just kind of selling it a little bit above a normal punch. So I'm like, well, which is it? Is this titanium or is it not? It was confusing. However, the story was, and I know I'm overthinking it, all they would like me to remember is, well, Cody's smart enough to use it as a weapon. And also, sorry guys, I'm digging 3 levels deep on this because there's like 4 things that don't make sense with that. You could have got DQ'd. Everyone knew it was titanium. Brock didn't sell it like it was titanium. But then also, Cody was selling that it hurt when he got suplexed, but then using it as a weapon, his broken arm, and he wasn't selling that it was hurting him when he was hitting Brock in the head like 18 times with his broken arm. It was just very selective on when Cody would decide that it suddenly hurts. I don't know. It's just weird. However, again, all WWE would like me to remember and just think about and not go beyond surface level is Cody was smart enough to use that as a weapon. That's it. Don't worry about the DQ stuff. Don't worry about the selling. Don't worry about... No. None of that. Okay. But the match was good. Brock Lesnar gets the victory. Made sense. Cody didn't tap out. He didn't get pinned. He just passed out, which is fine. We've seen babyfaces do this in the past. It's going to lead to match 3, probably at Money in the Bank. But if Cody has a broken arm, maybe they string this to SummerSlam, and that's where their third match is. I don't know if they'll have a third at Money in the Bank and a 4th at SummerSlam. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see on Monday night what the update is. Where do they go? Does Cody immediately go back to Brock? Does he say he's going to set his sights on Money in the Bank, and then Brock screws him out of Money in the Bank? Like, I'm just very curious what they're going to do here. I don't know, but either way, I'm looking forward to the match. They match up very well. Their chemistry is a lot of fun. And Brock in actual pro wrestling matches, reminding you how good he can be as an actual wrestler, is fun. It reinvigorates Brock too. So I have no issue with this, with their matchups going, 3, maybe 4 matches, but I think 3 is probably where they're going to go. No problem there. So, yeah, anyway. The other thing is, during the match, I'm doing a lot of critiquing, but as a whole, I really enjoyed the match. But when these things happen, you got to call them out. I just do. That's why I have this platform, to complain to you guys, so you can leave me 1-star reviews on Apple Podcasts and say how much I complain, which is fine. I really don't care. But it's just a fact. If you don't like facts, I don't know what to tell you. The other thing is, Cody Rhodes he needs to find a new finish or have more faith in his finish. It's getting routine now that Cody continues to use multiple finishes and doesn't even go for a cover. He hit 2 crossroads on Brock and didn't even try to go for a cover. Oh, he's in too much pain. Nonsense. If the objective is to win the match and you hit your finish that you've established as a finish, that you've decided is effective enough to end a match, and you hit it not once but twice and don't even go for a cover, that's on you, and it also makes your finish look weak. And it tells the audience, hey, when Cody hits this finish, it's not going to end the match. Don't worry, he needs to hit it at least 3 or 4 times. Not what you want. I know it's Brock Lesnar. I get it. But he's done this with every one of his opponents now, and it's not good. You need to re-educate. It's not broken, and it's not like you can't fix this. You can re-educate, and it's going to take some time, but you can do it. That your finish is effective. It's devastating. Remind us of that by not having everyone kick out of it or having you hit multiple and not go for a cover. That shows you have no faith in your own maneuvers. All right. I just wanted to point that out. All right. Seth Rollins and AJ Styles. This was exactly what you'd expect. And I mean that as a compliment all the way around. Both men, absolute professionals. Hall of Fame career right now. Both could quit today and would have Hall of Fame careers. Are they legends? That's a discussion for another day, but both Hall of Famers, no doubt. And the right person won. The absolute right person won. Hats off to AJ Styles. He reminded you how good he can be as well. It looks like he hasn't lost a step. I would still like him to have a run of his own at some point with a major championship. And I don't mean, when I say major, I mean top. I don't mean, well, the U.S. or Intercontinental. No. Eventually, before AJ calls it a day, somehow, some way, I'd like him to have a 4 to 6 month run with a top belt. Is that going to happen? I don't know. Time will tell, but time is running thin on AJ Styles. His age and mileage on his body, not exactly, an off-the-lot new car, right? So, that said, though, AJ put on an amazing matchup here with AJ. Were there some flubs? I think there's like 1 or 2. Nothing major, nothing egregious. Both men reminded you how good they are. No issues here. Seth Rollins getting the stomp was great. The tweaking the knee during the match was really good. If that was designed, and I believe it was designed, great way to tell the story in the middle of a match, a story within the story. AJ targets Seth's knee, then goes for the calf crusher, and you're like, oh my God, he could do it, right? Really good. Pedigree from AJ on Rollins was unexpected. That was cool. Really good all the way around. How many times he attempted the Styles clash and AJ couldn't execute, and just good stuff. Eventually, Seth hits the stomp, one stomp, if I'm not mistaken, to end the match. And we have a new World Heavyweight Champion, Seth Rollins. Triple H comes out and shakes the hand of Seth and puts the belt around his waist and lets Seth have his moment. Part of me was just out of habit waiting for Triple H to hit a pedigree on Seth. We've seen that before. I believe it was with the Universal or WWE. I can't remember, back after the Authority and all that in 2014, 2015. I was just, part of me, I know Triple H can't compete anymore, obviously with his health condition, and he's in no shape anyway. And he's on, his career has moved on completely. But just still, part of me was watching. I was like, is Triple H going to hit a pedigree here? In the back of your mind, I'm like, is he going to do this? because we've seen it so many times. But no, it's just a moment for the crowd to embrace Seth. They really love Seth here. The crowd was more behind Seth than AJ, but they weren't booing AJ per se. They just like Seth more. AJ's not going to be hurt by this. No one expected him to really win anyway. It was about putting on a really good match, making people believe, and I think they accomplished everything that they wanted to in this match. And congratulations to Seth. We now have a champion on Raw. WWE is still ignoring the fact that a World Heavyweight Championship has existed in the past, and they're not just inventing it out of whole cloth. It really, I know that they're trying to just restart it, but championships take pauses. I mean, they did that with the Intercontinental Championship for a while. I remember when Stone Cold brought it back in 03 or 04. Just because a championship changes its physical appearance doesn't change the meaning or value of what it has meant in the past or who has held it in the past. And I don't know why they feel it's better to just pretend that Seth is the first or that AJ would have been the first. What are you talking about? No, I don't know why they feel that it's better to push that belief, that narrative, rather than, hey, guys, here's all the legends that have held this championship. And it may look different, but the value hasn't changed. And here is who could win it, and here who has won it in the past. I mean, you could even had Triple H talking about how it bolstered his career in the early to mid 2000s, what it meant to him, what it meant to Booker T. You really, and they're just pretending that this is a brand new championship. It's not. I don't know why they feel that they need to do this. It's a missed opportunity. It's a totally missed opportunity. And I don't want to hear, well, it's a new championship. The World Heavyweight Championship of old is gone. Well, if that's the case, why did they design it like the old World Heavyweight Championship and put a WWE logo in the middle of it? Clearly, they're acknowledging that it has existed before because it represents the old championship physically in certain ways. So I don't understand it. I don't know. Everyone's pretending the inaugural. No, it's not even close. It's not even close. And I'm not buying it. I'm not going along with the lie. I don't know about you guys. It's not true. I mean, Seth is champion. Love it. I have no problem with it. And Seth has said in a post-match interview that he's going to be there every Monday night. And he's going to be defending the championship, blah, 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 right? Which is great. But also he may overstay his welcome if he's there that much. I know he's supposed to be the anti-Roman. He's supposed to be the yin to the yang, right? Roman's barely there. Seth is there, always there, every time. Defending his belt every week, right? That could work against Seth in the long run. In the short term, it's fun, cool, we have a champion all the time, now we can talk. But there's a happy medium here. I don't want Seth there every week. Maybe he goes on a 3-week streak, takes a week off, comes back, right? I also don't want him defending it against anyone who just says the name Seth Rollins and says, I want a championship opportunity. No. Can we not do that? The more we see those championship matches, the less it means. Also, you're just saying anyone can compete for this, even though it's the top belt. Anyone can do this? Well, I want to prove I'm a fighting champion. At the expense of the value of the championship? Well, that's not a good idea. But I know what they're doing. They're trying to overcompensate for Roman's criticism that he's been receiving for the last year and a half, most intensely year and a half. So I get it, but they need to be very careful they don't go completely the other way, where Seth is there constantly in your face, championship match every effing week. No, there needs to be a balance. Let's relax, okay? Balance. Don't just go the extreme. I'm telling you, it will backfire. All right. So let's talk about Gunther and Ali. As expected, Ali gets a good reaction. It's funny they announced him from Chicago, which is true. But they could have announced maybe his heritage to kind of bolster the crowd. Funny either way. But the crowd received him well, and the match was good. I mean, dare I say very good, but only very good to the extent that they were able to have some good near falls and get the crowd involved. The crowd really helped this. Not that there were any bad botches or they didn't have good chemistry. I think their styles meshed well. I liked Ali's 450 splash, and then, oh my God, he's going for it again. Can he actually pull it off? There was that kind of quick little moment of doubt, which is all I can ask for. And it made Gunther look vulnerable at times, which I agree and disagree with, but overall the story was solid. You have a super underdog. He has his moments. The champion's down. Strike while the iron's hot. Do it quick. The crowd's into it. Could it really happen? And then, reality hits you in the face. And his name is Gunther. And he gets the victory after a power bomb. And I think, was Corey Graves making a reference to dinosaurs, like a T-Rex doing a drop kick or something? That actually made me laugh. It was something along those lines. And Gunther hits the powerbomb, stacks him up 1, 2, 3. We have Gunther still our Intercontinental Champion. Love that. Now, the follow-up on this is going to be, since Ali had mentioned that if he can't win and beat Gunther, then he is going to leave WWE. Does he follow through with that? Was this an idle threat? Was it just a threat that he made to get people more interested in the match than they otherwise were? And then they hope people forget? I don't know. But it'll be interesting to see what happens as the follow-up on Raw takes place this coming week. And does Ali follow through? Does he not? Either way, Ali is probably out of the IC title picture, and Gunther is wide open for a new opponent, just as Seth is. So Monday night, dare I say, selfishly, because I'll be there, is going to be an interesting night of new opponents. And that's never a bad thing. So, overall, though, I can't complain about the match. I really can't. I thought it was well executed and as good as it possibly could have been, given the time that these men were given to compete. All right, what else happened here on the show? I feel like I'm missing a match. Asuka, you talked about that. Gunther, Ali, Trish and Becky, I talked about that, and Seth and AJ, I talked about that. I guess I did. Did I? Wow. Okay. I thought I missed something. Somebody out there is yelling about something I didn't cover. Oh, Sami Zayn getting the reaction he did was cool. Wearing the traditional robes. I don't know what you call them. Native to Saudi Arabia. Was cool. Speaking the native tongue was cool. Certainly endeared him to the crowd. And so I would say the number one pop of the night, probably Sami Zayn. I really would say that. Sami Zayn got a massive reaction. And I would also think that this is the last time, at least for the next month or 2 months, that we see the Usos, or rather Sami and Kevin in the Bloodline universe. I would think that that's kind of the conclusion for some time. So, which is not a bad thing either. I think everyone's kind of ready to move on from that. And it's fair, right? We've seen enough. The story's been told. They did what they said they were going to do. They helped facilitate the Bloodline's destruction. And we very well may have seen the Bloodline's destruction on unfold before our eyes with Jimmy. So perhaps they actually accomplished what they said they were going to do. So, all right. Well, I think that pretty much covers it, guys, with our pay-per-view review or premium live event review. New World Heavyweight Champion. Jimmy turns on Roman. That might have been the pop of the night too, or one of the pops of the night. And Trish beats Becky. We had Gunther retain. We had Bianca lose to Asuka, who's now the new Raw Women's Champion. We had Brock beat Cody via pass out in about 10 minutes. We had Sami and Kevin beat Roman and Solo. So overall, predictable for about 80% of it, but every time we see a pay-per-view that Triple H puts together, presumably Triple H, although we're hearing rumors of Vince still throwing his weight around on writing and rewriting and throwing things away. Presumably, if Triple H is in charge, he more than over-delivers with his card. And the wrestlers are obviously certainly, to giving credit for that mostly, but how many times have we seen a pay-per-view on paper, including WrestleMania itself, and gone, looks okay. And we come out of it going, wow, that was an awesome match. How many times have we seen that? That's a testament to the performers themselves, the wrestlers themselves, and mostly. So, good stuff. All right. Well, guys, that'll do it for me here on the WWE Podcast. Look for my sign. I'll be there on Monday Night Raw, front and center on camera side. You should be able to see my sign, or if I don't get it taken away, we will see how that all rolls out for Monday Night Raw. But I will not be doing a week in review tomorrow, so just a reminder of that. If you look for it, it won't be there. In your imagination, it will be. So consider this your week in review. Also, don't forget, trials are going on right now. Free trials, 7-day free trial on Apple Podcasts and on Patreon if you want to go ad-free. And WWEpodcast.com also has an ad-free experience. And give us a 5-star rating and review if you can. Or if you want to pick up your merch, you can do that at WWEpodcastshop.com. Thank you, everybody, for listening. I really appreciate it. I'll be back. Oh, my gosh. I don't know the next time we'll be back. I don't know, because it's a screwy schedule for me. I'll probably talk to you in a couple days. Until then, take care. I'll talk to you next time.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.